Very good morning, all of you. So in the previous class, I have explained you the introduction about power semiconductor drives or electrical drives, along with its block diagram and operation. For today's class, we will see the first unit syllabus and the first topic in the first unit. Coming to the unit 1, this deals with the control of DC motors using single phase and three phase converters. In this unit, this unit is divided into two parts. First part is single phase part, and second part is a three phase part. Coming to the first part, single phase semi and fully controlled converters connected tightly exited motor as well as DC series motors. So two converters and two motors, along with its continuous current operation. We need to plot output voltage and current waveforms, and speed torque expressions has to be derived. Speed torque expressions has to be derived, and speed torque characteristics has to be plotted with the help of these speed torque expressions. And finally, the problems on single phase converters. Similarly, in the second part, the three phase converters, three phase semi and fully controlled converters connected to DC separately exited motor as well as DC series motors. Right. Same output voltage and current waveforms, speed and torque expressions along with the speed torque characteristics. After all, problems on three phase converters. So this is our first unit. So in the single phase, we are having four concepts: single phase semi-controlled separately exited DC motor, series exited DC motor. Similarly, single phase fully controlled separately exited DC motor and series exited DC motor. Similarly, in the three phase section also we are having four concepts: three phase semi-controlled separately exited DC motor and series exited DC motor, three phase fully controlled separately exited DC motor and fully controlled series DC motor. So coming to the first topic in unit number 1, which is single phase semi-controlled converter fed separately excited DC motor. So this is its circuit diagram of single phase semi-controlled converter fed DC separately excited motor. And you can observe here the field is excited separately with the help of field winding. So that is shown here. And at the input side, you can observe this is semi-controlled converter. In the previous video, I have explained what is the difference between half wave, half controlled or semi-controlled and fully controlled. So this is semi-controlled converter. See, only we are having two thyristors for this bridge circuit, remaining two are diodes. So half of this bridge is controlled with the help of power electronic converter. So that is the reason why this is called as half controlled converter or semi-controlled converter. So here the input voltage is a pure sinusoidal input. So that is the reason why we have chosen that VA is Vm sin omega t, where Vm is the maximum peak maximum of this sinusoidal waveform. So you know that the thyristors, each and every thyristor will operate for 180 degrees only. So thyristor T1 will operate for 0 to pi, and thyristor T2 will operate for pi to 2 pi. 0 to pi is nothing but 0 to 180 degrees. Similarly, pi to 2 pi means 180 to 360 degrees. Okay. However, based on the firing angle, which is alpha, based on the firing angle, we can trigger this thyristor at 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 60 degrees, wherever we want to. So alpha is the regulating parameter here or the controlling parameter here. So depends upon the alpha. We will. All of you, please be in mute. Right. Thank you. So based on the this alpha parameter, which means based on this phase angle, triggering angle, we can control the thyristor T1 as well as the thyristor T2, so that we can regulate the average output voltage which can be produced by this converter, semi-controlled converter. Okay, so I have told you for each and every concept we will go through 6 points. For each and every concept we will go through 6 points. Coming to the first point, it is circuit diagram. Okay, which is shown here. And coming to the second point, it is the construction, which means the circuit diagram, what it contains. That we need to explain in the construction section, which is second point. By observing the circuit diagram, we can say that this semi-controlled converter having 2 thyristors, namely T1 and T2, and 2 diodes, namely D1 and D2, having a freewheeling diode in order to circulate the continuous current. In order to circulate the continuous current, because in the syllabus it is clearly mentioned that the operation of all these converters will be under continuous conduction mode only. So continuous conduction mode means the current has to be, the load current has to be continuous for all the conditions. So that is the reason why here a freewheeling diode is taken to circulate the continuous current. And this is the motor section. RA is the armature resistance, LA is the armature inductance, and this is the motor. And motor produces a back EMF, which is EB. And the field is taken separately. RF is the field winding representation, and a separate source is used to excite this field winding. This field winding used to excite this armature winding of the motor. And this is a single quadrant operation, or it's a first quadrant operation, because the voltage and current produced across this motor, or the operation of this motor with the help of voltage and current, both are of positive sign only. Both are of positive sign only. So in the first quadrant, y-axis will be positive and x-axis will be positive. You know that. So these 4 quadrants. In the first quadrant, y-axis is positive and x-axis is positive. In the second quadrant, y-axis is positive and x-axis is negative. In the third quadrant, both are negative, x-axis and y-axis. And in the fourth quadrant, x-axis is positive, but y-axis is negative. So this is first quadrant, and this is second, and this is third quadrant, and this is fourth quadrant. Okay, so these are the 4 different quadrants. See here, this graph clearly shows that this converter is capable of producing positive output voltage and positive output current only, which means this converter will operate in first quadrant mode only. So that is the reason why this figure has been plotted. All of you, please be in mute. Don't unmute yourself. Okay. So it's about its construction. Coming to its operation, we will have 3 modes. First mode belongs to T1, second mode belongs to T2, and the third mode belongs to the freewheeling diode mode. Okay, so coming to the first mode, from 0 to 180 degrees, the input voltage is a sinusoidal supply, which means it will produce a positive peak. For the positive peak, the thyristor T1 will be in forward condition. The thyristor T1 will be in forward condition. But at alpha, at the point of alpha, we will trigger this T1. so that at alpha point the T1 will turn on. Hence, the current will flow from the terminal, phase terminal, to the thyristor T1 to the motor RA, LA and the motor to diode D1 to the neutral point. So this is how the current direction will be. Okay. Again, I'm representing the current direction. Please check it carefully. Phase to thyristor T1 to RA, LA and motor to diode D1 to neutral terminal. This is how the current direction will be for the first mode, and the first mode will be from alpha to pi. So from alpha to pi, the voltage equation, KVL equation will be, so according to KVL, the supply voltage, algebraic sum of supply voltage must be equal to the algebraic sum of voltage drops. Is it? So here the supply voltage is VA only. So VA equal to the voltage drop across the resistor is IRA, and the voltage drop across the inductor is LA into DIA by dt, and the voltage drop across the motor is the EB, back EMF. So this is for alpha to pi duration. At pi, the thyristor T1 will be turned off, because at pi the input voltage comes to 0 from the positive half cycle. After pi, it will produce negative half cycle. So which means the thyristor T1 will goes to reverse biased mode. So in this reverse biased mode, T1 will be in off condition. So at the same point, the thyristor T2 will become forward biased condition, will be forward biased mode. So in the forward biased condition, at pi plus alpha, this T2 will be triggered. Alpha is firing angle. So at pi plus alpha, this T2 is triggered. So that of neutral terminal. So this point, from this point, so from neutral terminal, this neutral terminal to thyristor T2 RA, LA to diode D2 to here phase terminal. Once again, I am repeating correction. Neutral terminal to T2 to RA, LA and motor to diode D2 to phase terminal. Okay, so for this loop, the equation will be same. If you write KVL equation, it will be same. VA is equal to IARA plus LA into DIA dt plus EB only for this loop also. Okay, so this is for alpha to pi as well as pi plus alpha to 2 pi. For both the this equation will be same. And we will have a small duration which is from pi to pi plus alpha. In this duration, there is no input to the motor, because see, from pi to pi plus alpha, thyristor T2 will be in forward condition, but it is not in conduction mode. Similarly, from 0 to alpha also, thyristor T1 will be in forward condition, but not in conduction state. So in this duration, see, I'll show you in this graph. See here, from 0 to alpha in this duration, as well as pi to pi plus alpha in this duration. In these two durations, there is no input feeding the motor, because the thyristors are in forward biased mode, but they are not in conduction mode, because at alpha, at the point of alpha only, we will trigger these thyristors. T2 will be at pi plus alpha, T1 will be at alpha. So during that small duration 0 to alpha, similarly pi plus alpha, in those small durations there is no input voltage given to this motor. However, we have considered that the motor, the load current is continuous, means that the motor is taking continuous load current. So in that small duration, this freewheeling diode comes into picture, means this load current will circulate through this freewheeling diode. So there is no input given, and this motor is shorted by this freewheeling diode, which means there is no voltage across the motor because diode is shorted. In the short circuit condition, the voltage is 0. So that is the reason why this equation VA, there is no voltage applied here in this mode. It is pi to pi plus alpha, 0 to alpha. So 0 equal to IRA plus LA into DAA by DEB. So these are two equations for these time durations. Okay, and if we check the output waveforms, see this dotted line represents the input sinusoidal signal, and these two pulses, these two positive pulses represents the output voltage. See, from 0 to alpha, the thyristor T1 is not triggered, means thyristor T1 is forward biased but not conducting. That is the reason why here the voltage is 0. At alpha to pi, thyristor T1 is triggered, so the current will flow. So the current will rises like this up to pi. So the voltage appear at the load or at the motor, which is same as this dotted line, which is same as this input. See, same shape as the input voltage. So for this mode, T1 and D1 both are in conduction mode. So that is the reason why here T1 on, D1 on. So at pi, so at this point, the thyristor T1 will turned off, natural commutation. Okay, so from pi onwards, thyristor T2 will be in forward connection. At pi plus alpha, this T2 is triggered. So that is the reason why pi to pi plus alpha, there is no voltage applied across the load. So during this duration and during this duration, current is there. See, DF diode of freewheeling diode, DFW means freewheeling diode. So during this small duration and this small duration, only the freewheeling diode will act in order to make the current continuous. This freewheeling diode will conduct from 0 to alpha, from pi to pi plus alpha. At pi plus alpha, thyristor T2 is triggered and the input is fed, which means the current from the input supply terminal is fed to the motor, so the current rises like this. And similarly, the shape same as the input waveform. The shape of the output voltage will be the same as input waveform. Okay, so this is the output voltage and this is the output current for the continuous conduction operation. Okay, so in order to derive the average input voltage, so the output voltage average equation can be derived with the formula. We know the average equation formula, that the function, any function f average can be written as f average is equal to 1 by time period integral 0 to time period function dt. We have learned in electrical circuit. So with the same formula here also, we can derive the average equation, so which is VA is equal to 1 by pi. For sinusoidal power supply, the equation is calculated only for the half cycle. You know the reason, you have come across. So only the average equation is calculated for the half cycle in the sinusoidal, for the sinusoidal input. So VA is equal to 1 by pi integral alpha to pi. Alpha to pi is the conduction duration, so that is the reason why alpha to pi is given here. You can also observe here voltage waveform is appeared at alpha from alpha to pi only. Okay, so that is the reason why alpha to pi. Vm sin omega t, which is the input voltage. Vm sin omega t. If we integrate and simplify this equation, we will get the average equation as Vm by pi into 1 plus cos alpha. Vm by pi into 1 plus cos alpha. Okay, so this is how we can determine the average equation. Similarly, we can from this separately excited DC motor basic also derive the speed characteristics. Okay, so from this equation, you can observe that the steady state. I have already given that in the steady state condition, the voltage across the inductor is 0. Average voltage across the inductor under steady state conditions is 0. So which means this term LA into dIA by dt, this term will be 0. So which means this equation becomes VA equal to IARA plus EB only. Okay, so VA minus IARA equal to EB. EB equal to this IARA term, bring this side. Now we will get VA minus IARA equal to EB because this is 0. But you know EB equal to K phi into speed, constant flux and speed combination EB. So K phi into N. So bring this K phi here, you will get the speed equation as VA minus IARA by K into phi. You know VA is the average equation we have derived here, which is Vm by pi into 1 plus cos alpha. So substitute here in the VA term, substitute here, you will get this equation. We have to derive the speed torque relation, but in this equation there is no torque term. Okay, so in order to get this torque term, we have to replace this armature current IA. So for that, you consider this equation. R is equal to K phi into IA. From this equation, we can write IA is equal to T by K phi. Now substitute this IA in this equation so that you will get the relation between speed and torque. This is the relation between speed and torque. So N is equal to Vm by pi into 1 plus cos alpha by K phi and minus Ra into T by K phi whole square. So this is the speed torque relation. From this relation, we can plot the characteristics of for speed versus torque. See, these are the speed versus torque characteristics. And here, this graph shows the output voltage versus firing angle characteristics. Output voltage is nothing but the average voltage. You know the average voltage equation, which is Vm by pi into 1 plus cos alpha. So alpha is the regulating parameter or controlling parameter here. So if you regulate the alpha value, then the output voltage will also be varied. See here, if you substitute alpha is 0 degrees, which means the thyristor is fired at 0 degrees at the starting instant only. So if it is fired at 0 degrees, then cos alpha, cos 0 will be 1. So 1 plus 1 will be 2. So which means 2 Vm by pi. So at alpha is 0, the output will be maximum. See here, which is 2 Vm by pi at alpha 0 condition. If alpha goes on increasing, the output voltage will decrease. Okay, the output voltage will decrease. When the alpha is at 180 degrees, we know the output is 0. Okay, at 180 degrees, now substitute cos 180 here. Cos 180 is minus 1. So plus 1 minus 1, this term becomes 0. So 0 into anything will be 0. So the output voltage will be 0. So by regulating alpha, we can regulate the output voltage. Similarly, the speed torque characteristics also. So from this equation, the speed depends upon the alpha. So by controlling the firing angle, we can also regulate the speed of the motor. And similarly, the speed is directly proportional to the torque, but with the negative slope. Here in the torque term, the slope is negative. You can see here. So negative slope means decaying line, and it is proportional. That's why it is linear line. Okay. So for different alpha values, these are the different speed torque curves. Alpha is increasing, speed is more. If alpha is decreasing, alpha is increasing, speed will be less, because if alpha is more, cos of alpha will be less. If this term is less, then complete this term will be less. So for alpha is 0, we'll get the maximum speeds. For alpha 90, we'll get the minimum speeds. This is how we can regulate speed and torque with regulating the firing angle. Okay. So this is our 6th point, speed torque characteristics. Our 5th point is speed torque relationship derivation. And remaining all we have. Okay. This is how we can regulate the separately excited DC motor with the help of semi-controlled converter. Okay.